So Chris, fabulous to get you here to Castle Malwood, to the location that lots of people that are watching our Vissensa Talks series are becoming used to our lovely backdrop.
Thank you, Steve. It's wonderful to be here and to be in what is a wonderful part of the forest with great views. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they're absolutely brilliant. Now look, I'm really excited to have you here because in the conversations that we've had earlier over the last couple of weeks setting this up, the business that you're in, Debt Collection Dorset, is I think something that's so relevant in this time. But I think that your approach to it is quite revolutionary. So really looking forward to have this Vissensa Talk series with you today.
Yeah, great to put that across and for what I stand for, which perhaps is a bit of a different approach to debt management in particularly this current crisis, which needs to be adopted. So yeah, it's going to be really great fun talking to you and getting a good understanding of everyone out there as well, and helping local businesses.
Yeah, most importantly,
is key. So, yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about your background. So, it'd be interesting just to understand how you started into what most people would actually go, my God, I don't really want to get into debt management and debt collection. Is I think
it has a
bold career.
an unfortunate label within some organisations as being known as sales prevention. Nothing could be further from the truth. I started in London in the 80s working in a credit control department and worked my way up through various organisations to become a credit manager and credit manager stroke accounts payable manager for some quite large organisations. But the key, and I was very lucky to do that, I know, but the key is I've got skills and I want to help businesses on a local level. So 2 years ago I set up Debt Collection Dorset, and it's been a very interesting journey so far, using those skills that were perhaps adapted to large organisations for some of the smaller organisations, SMEs and businesses within the local area. And it's been particularly interesting to be part of that.
No, that's absolutely fabulous, understanding your history there, Chris. So what I'd love to jump straight into now is to get your perspective on the landscape of what you're seeing today. Obviously post-COVID, there's some particular challenges that have always been in this market, but I think that those have been significantly accentuated during the crisis. So it'd be interesting to understand your perspective of the landscape and perhaps some idea of how you navigate your way around that.
Okay, at the moment things are particularly challenging, as we know, for many businesses. But what I would like to start with perhaps is to say, let's have a look at the actual overall picture of things right now. Anyone who tells you that they know how the financial situation is going to develop in the coming months or years is not telling you the truth.
No, indeed.
All we can do right now is look at what we do know. And what do we know? Well, we know, unfortunately, we know that a number of businesses are not going to survive in the current climate. We know that the government is going to have to borrow up to £500 billion to run the economy with all the support it's giving through the various furloughed schemes and various loans right now. And ultimately, that's going to lead to higher unemployment at the current time, probably a depression.
Yeah, indeed. I think a world depression is on the cards if we're not careful.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, this debt has got to be serviced. And how are they going to service the debt? Very uncomfortably, they're going to raise taxes in the next few years. Oh joy.
Yeah, most people recognise that the the efforts that's being put in by the UK government at this point in time is one of the best in the world, and is obviously saving a huge amount of business and companies. But I think Rishi Sunak himself has said, we can't save all the jobs and we can't save all the people, and he's absolutely right about that. But most people with their finger on the pulse recognise that we can't just print money. There's at some point in time down the pike, something's got to happen, and and that makes for a bit of a daunting landscape in terms of how companies get themselves to a position where their finances are in the right place, and clearly you're seeing the beginnings of that happen now, I'd imagine.
I am indeed, because I think, having given that rather grim outlook, I think there's a need to uplift you and everyone else in the current climate. And if you're in the right place, there is opportunity. There still is. I'm ever the optimist. I think there's still the right climate for business to continue. There's 66 million people in this country, for goodness sake. They're not all going to stop everything.
No, and I think you're right. I mean, actually, one of the things at the very beginning of this was quite interesting for me is that somebody said to me and gave me a great phrase I'd never heard before, which was, in a storm you can do one of two things. You can either go into a cave and hide, or you can build windmills. And certainly for Vissensa, we've been fortunate in a position in terms of the type of business that we're in, the type of financial perspective that we have, that we've been building windmills. I mean, we've created, for example, this series as an uplifting series, as a positive message to local business, that we're out there. There are solutions. There are people that you can go to, providing advice, providing free advice and guidance in a lot of cases, to get people to recognise that there is a better way out. And the way you frame that in terms of there's 66 million businesses that want to do business with you, means that is really positive. But you've actually got to have a plan, haven't you, Chris?
You have to have the plan. It's so important now that you strategise, you get the people right, and you get that planning correct. If you've not got that right now, then you will suffer in the coming months, without doubt. That goes without saying. And it's so difficult now, I do appreciate this, for a lot of small independent businesses to survive, particularly whether there's lockdown or no lockdown. You should expect to be getting paid, and that's really the key.
So talk us a bit about that. I mean, because as you say, that's we talked a little bit before we started this about being paid, the expectation of being paid. I'm sure there's an awful lot of people that are watching this and have seen this, have a really hard perspective in terms of they have had companies say we can't pay, or we won't pay, or whatever. Give us a brief outline about that.
You've got signed terms and conditions, you've completed everything correctly, and then you find out that you can't actually be paid in full for the invoices that you're owed. And the key really is to communicate with your customer and understand what is going on. And to a certain extent, the old rules of not paid, put on stop, hold credit and everything else are out the window. We need to look at a different way of handling this. Not just small businesses, large businesses, and everyone needs to have that tolerance, and tolerance is the key to actually enable this to go to the next level and get you through where you are right now.
Now, it's interesting you should say that, because there has been quite a lot of, I've heard lots of stories. We've had a few organisations come to us and be quite intolerant, even though we're really good cash payers and really good payers of our invoices, that they are relatively intolerant. And I don't think that in the spirit of where we're going in the future is a really good policy. Certainly I think people will look at it and say, here's organisations that I would like to do business with in the future and wouldn't like to do business with in the future, basically on the stance that they're taking there. What would you say about that, Chris?
Reacting and holding orders, or putting your credit limit down in the current climate isn't necessarily going to help anyone.
No.
Pulling up that drawbridge can lead to this domino effect for businesses and could lead to a lot of collapses. And it's about being, really on top of your customers, talking to them, communicating them, showing some humility. We're all humans and we're all out there trying to make it, and we should make everyone count. And in order to do that, I think we need to remember that we buy from people that we like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And therefore we pay people we like.
That's
So
a
going
good
about
point.
it the wrong way will not help the situation. Some of these SMEs and independent businesses really don't like to ask bigger businesses for money, and it's bizarre because they're worried that they're going to upset them. However, you cannot do that right now. You need to be on top of your cash flow, and you need to keep that conversation going so that you get paid on time. So this is the key. The key is positive language. Positive language for everyone in the business community will help all or a lot of the businesses survive right now. And when a customer has the humility to come through and thank us for something, we have to say, it's my pleasure. It's great that you've done that. Thank you very much.
And I think that's a great place to leave this segment of the talk. And I know that in the next piece we're going to be talking a little bit more about the problems that you see and some of the pitfalls that are in there. So I look forward to that, and thanks for this piece of advice.
Really been helpful being here. Thank you.